Hi, it's Amanda here, the Creative Gardener. So, as I said to you on Tuesday, I was going to go around the garden and look at some of the plants and things that I'm going to get started and some of the areas that I'm going to be working on. Now, if you've been following my videos, you'll see that there are a few things that may look different and cool. It's wandering around. May look different. I'm still catching up with the videos, and I'm still showing you as and when the plants, what they look like. I've got some new plants which I'll show you today, but the overall emphasis for today is to show you some of the plants that I've got now that can be used in terms of food, and look at the areas in which I need to improve, do better, make a bit more of. And I'm standing in my underground under the house nursery that really does need a lot of work, and by really the end of this week or before the beginning of next week, it needs to be sorted out with soil, the pots. I'm recycling anyway, so yeah, I've got some work which you'll see to do under here, and then I'll touch on a few of the herbs that I've got, and then in the following weeks we'll look a bit more closely at some of the kind of medicinal, nutritional value. And again, this is by no means an alternative to whatever you've been told by your doctor, and this is by no means giving you medical advice. This is just known properties of particular plants and the ones that I happen to be growing in my garden. So if you feel drawn to grow them as well, you can have them as a tea, you can eat them, you can do a whole range of things, and I'll cover those over time. But I'm not going to overload this video with a whole load of things that you should be doing and you need to do now. But the thing is, you need to start now, yeah? So where you can get seeds, whether it's fruits that you've already eaten, that you've got the seeds for, or whether it's you go to your garden centre if they're still open, depending on where you are, and get some of the quick the fruit, the seeds from plants that you're able to grow within the next month. And then once you've got the seeds, you can just use them for growing. Okay, so we are going to get on with it. The other thing that I wanted to briefly touch on is there's quite a few plants that I come across in the garden that I'm not sure what they are, and so some of them I think may have medicinal purposes, but I'm not using them as such, and until I can find out, I will just continue growing them. And I'm just looking at the seeds of a plant which is kind of like a vine, but there's little tiny seeds in here, and I'm thinking that it's growing with a purpose, or the seeds are all kind of waiting to come off. But it's not like the ivy, where it kind of takes over and really can destroy your walls or foundation, but well, not foundation, but your walls. Anyway, so let's get a move on. We'll do the underground nursery, not the underground, the under storage nursery first, and I'll tell you what I'm going to be doing there. Okay, come on. Okay, so this is what it looks like at the moment. It's been neglected and we've had several rains. My fern patch is growing. What I need in the garden as a whole is more shade, so that's where the trees are coming in, and I'm growing loads of trees, so I just need to wait for them to grow, and then I can make more use of the ferns that are growing under the house. And obviously this whole area needs a lot of work, but what I really want to show you is this is the space that I've got to grow my seedlings, and it's shaded, it gets a bit of sun in the afternoon, and I need to tidy up. So what I had been doing was using these milk cartons, and all I need to do with this is empty these out, put some new fresh soil in, and start the whole process again. I don't think, I'm not sure. Actually, if I put some of the Mexican sunflower on there, water them, I might be okay. But it's just a general tidy up. Where I've got the cardboard, I was using it for laying down and cutting down on the weeds, and the cartons were going to the recycling, but I've since been told that they're not coming to pick up a bulk, so I have to try and see where else on the island I can sort them out, and then just more containers that I can utilize to put plants in. So it's always useful to put plants in, and the bottles. But with these, I've noticed that the slugs and the snails, they eat off the plastic, or they're eating off the plastic. So that might be another way in which they can biodegrade. Coal again. Anyway, so let us, where are we going to go first? Let's go somewhere else first. Okay, so, but that's a job that needs to be done by the end of the week, really, just to tidy up, put all the cartons that I'm not using away, and just kind of give myself some more surfaces to work on with the seeds, because I want to get a lot of seeds in the ground. Okay, so let's move on. Now I'm pointing here because what we have here is dandelion, and there's another version with the red flowers, and I saw there was another little one here, but I think the guy who cuts the grass might have already cut it, but I'm going to see if I can rescue. I think it was this one, which I showed you in a video, or which you might not have seen yet because I haven't done it yet. And I just pulled from here, I just pulled 2 cotton plants, which I've put elsewhere in the garden. But the dandelion grows quite profusely, and you can see the patches that it's growing. I had picked up a lot recently, and because this was all covered, and you can see where the seeds are there, and so we've got some more growing there. So dandelion tea, you can use it in salads and things like that, I think, yeah. But for the tea, the nutritional benefits I'll put up, and as I say, I'm not going to be doing too many today. Now, this is river tamarind. This was cut down without my permission, and I was very annoyed at that. Because I was building a really nice kind of little archway here, like an arch. This is a well, but the door fell off, so it was just like I'd put things just to stop, when our grandson comes, just to stop, inquisitive eyes. But yeah, so it was cut down. And it was about here, and there was another one that was cut, which is here. And I don't like cutting down the trees in my garden, and I started using the wood, but I hadn't planned to use this, so it's just like I now have to look at this. I know this is not the video for it, but I've got now to sort out this wood. But what I came to show you was, so this is the river tamarind. Now, when these are young, they can be eaten, I found out. And again, they've got, some nutritional benefits. And then we have these, which is ivy gourd. They're usually green, like this. And they can be eaten, but they're quite bitter. In India, there's a specific dish. So I think what I'll do is find out how to make it, and then that's a source of food that it's growing like a weed. Like I didn't plant it, I just happened to find them, but it does grow quite well. And I'm not sure whether the leaves might be edible, or again in tea. So it's like, you know, growing things. You look around your space and where you may have something that, you know, you're not necessarily able to eat it, but you can grow it for the purpose of it being a tea. Come here. I've come over here to show you. So this is another river tamarind. So that one's growing. But what I normally do is just to clip them, because they can grow really tall. So hence, is this another one? This is a different, I can't remember what this one's called. But I grow them and then I cut them back a bit and allow it to grow, and use the leaves in other places in the garden for, you know, mulch. Now this is a lovely plant called scarvola. It's usually grown by the sea, and I have got a video on it, but it can be used as a dye. So again, where you've got plants that, you know, you may not have access to dyes, and it's done really well. I had one plant and then I planted a few along here, and it's really, this particular spot, I think it's probably the dampest, so they've been doing really well. Cole, come here. She's standing there. Anyway, let's get on. What are we going to see next? So I've got planting growing. I managed to get a pup, and I've got another little pup growing here. I hadn't shown this. In a video, but this is planting. It grows very similar to the banana, and so I did come, and this has been like this for a while, so I think it does need a bit more water, and I'm really excited to see some of the fruit, some of the planting. Pomegranates are a must again as well, because as well as the fruit, which is being eaten by the birds, somebody was saying they peck at them and it helps ripen them, but they've forgotten that they're supposed to be ripening, and they've been eating the fruit as well. But the leaves, it can make a really nice green tea, and it's full of antioxidants. Okay, I'll show you two more, and the main one is the Moringa. So I've showed you the Moringa, and you can eat the leaves, you can eat the flowers, you can grow and the seed pods. This is a dried seed pod. Oops. There you go. So the seeds can be roasted or replanted. They've just been falling, so it's kind of like, I'm not overwhelmed with them, but I haven't been able to harvest all the seeds, and what I've been trying to get is something to extract the oil from the seeds, so that I can use the oil, get ben oil from the seeds. So I use the wood in my studio, I use the leaves. We eat the leaves as the greens, or I'm the one who mostly eats the leaves, me and Cole. And when I can get the others, you know, I'll make tea as well from the leaves, and that again makes a nice green tea. The pods here, you can see, this one is kind of, you can see, okay, so you can see two. So this particular one, oops, there it is. So that you can cook it, and you probably wouldn't be able to you eat the outside, it gets kind of hard, but when they're like this, they're edible. So when they're all nice and thin, it's easier to eat. And then over here, which I've showed you before, is the Moringa patch. Now again, it's been very dry, we've had little rain, and I'm just like, I just need it to rain for a while, so that we can revitalize this area. And what I've been doing is cutting them to a certain length so that I can make them spread, rather than, they're growing up really tall because of the amount that's here and the water, the lack of water. So I'm trying not to let them grow too tall. But very early on they started producing the drumsticks, as you can see. And what I've been doing is collecting the drumsticks that fall around the garden, because I've got 11 moringa trees around here and about 30 here. And so as they fall, I'm collecting them and then just putting them here in this patch, so it will act as mulch, and it will also you know, just break down, and if they want to grow here, then that's fine. What was the other thing I wanted to show you? Aloes. So aloes is a must, and again, it has so many different properties. It's soothing for burns and scalds. If you burn yourself, sunburn or whatever it is, you can use it. You can, and I'll put the list of other things that it's useful for. I also use it to, you know, you can wash with it, wash your hair, and it's got a very soap-like consistency, and it grows really well. Like this one is growing quite well. It's got loads of little pup babies, and what I'd probably do is separate them. Cole! What I'd probably do is separate them and move them elsewhere to give them the space. And I've got most of my aloes around the garden is flowering. Again, I think it's the dryness of the weather which encourages then the flowers to come up, and I was quite surprised to see so many flowers. And as you can see, they're all just pushing out babies, but I will put the properties. So yeah, that's definitely a must have in your garden or in your home. You can grow them indoors as well. But yeah, they're growing really well. Like these were 3 small ones, and they've just kind of grown and then spread. Let me see where else I've got them. I've got some potatoes supposedly coming up here. So where is it now? Oh, it's over here. It was over here. This one was the one that I've had for years, like 4 or 5 years. So again, it's I already split it, and it's now got 3 additional ones in the front here, and there looks like another one coming, and this one is flowering as well. So what I normally do is just keep around it clear, and again, just encouraging the growth, because it's, you know, you can again use it in so many different ways, and I will list this. And yeah, finally I'll just talk about the my black sage. I've got a video up about the black sage, and I'll just list the properties here. But these little moths seem to like it as well. But I come out and I spray it with soapy water, and it's got, you know, quite a few good properties. You can use it as tea, use it as tea, make tea from it, and they use it in smudging, so you can dry the leaves and burn them. They've got kind of like a like clearing the atmosphere kind of properties, and yeah, it's all round, you know, good in terms of cooking. It's got a nice kind of flavour. I'm not sure how you would describe it, but yeah, that's the black sage. So I want you to think about some of the things that I've shown you, some of the plants, some of the under the house nursery, and see what you can do. Yeah, so that's kind of a quick look at some of the things that I've grown, and you can look at some of the other videos I've got of some of the plants that I'm growing. But it's definitely important for you to start growing something, and think about some of the easy crops to grow, like, you know, pumpkin is really easy. I've kind of just thrown them in and left them, and they, you know, I harvested a few months ago, and then we just ate our way through them. I harvested like 4 or 5 pumpkins, and I again threw the seeds out, but I haven't seen anything coming up again, probably because it's very dry. So what I'm going to do now is go round and water some of the young plants that I've got, like the what do you call it, pear, avocado pear, the sugar apple, soursop, some of the plants that are quite small at the moment, and they really just need tending to. And but I was saying earlier that to myself, that the watering process can be such a mission, because it's having to fill up. Because I haven't had any sprinklers installed, or, you know, any irrigation. The idea behind it was that, you know, the rain that fell and the rain that I harvest in the container, which is back there, would be sufficient. But again, when you're dealing with smaller plants, they take a while before they establish. Like, you know, I don't need to come out and water my Moringa tree, but the ones in my Moringa patch now, they need water, because that particular side of the garden, there's a steeper slope, so there's less water. The water drains fairly quickly. But it's those kind of things that you have to look at your space and see how you can work around it. And for me, it's just like, if I need to go around with mini bottles filled with water and just do that, it's worth it in the long run, because of what you're going to get. Once the tree grows, you're going to get loads of, from that one avocado seed, you're going to get loads of avocados or mangoes or whatever it is. So it's worthwhile looking after and nurturing the plants to kind of get them to a particular spot. But I really do want you to look at, you know, what it is you're going to grow and intending to grow. And again, don't look at the size of your place, because there's so much you can do. There's loads of YouTubers online who have got a, you know, small apartment and are growing an abundance of fruit and vegetables. And so I do encourage you to look at some of those and see what you can do. And if you've only got a pot, you know, again, a balcony. There's a lady in India who, she's just got a little balcony, and she puts things on different layers. I can't remember her name, but she's got pots, and she just, you know, has got shelves in the back, and she puts things up, and she's in her kitchen as well. And she's growing things like, you know, sweet peppers, and I think she's even got moringa, lemon, some fruit that she's grown just in pots. So it's very achievable. For me, I've got to do just a bit more tidying up and prepare for the rainy season by sorting out the beds and encouraging more trees to grow. Trying to grow as many trees as I can, especially fruit trees. And just I've got some papayas that are suffering from the slugs and snails, so I'm going to put something down to stop them for the moment and give the trees a break. And some of my trees over there, the papaya trees, are also suffering. But I'm going to try and post on Saturday, and just a short post with, you know, something else that you might be able to grow, and just to give you some encouragement. And I hope you join me. I did say I was going to do a live, but again, I'm thinking to myself, I just really want to focus on getting my routine, because I talk about that in my art video. Cole! He's gone next door. So really just wanting to get things going, and it is about us staying connected. So leave a comment and I will comment back, and come and join me on some of the other platforms where you can see some of the other work that I'm doing. Do share what you're doing. I love connecting with you guys, and you know, this is about our journey, how we are all growing and how we are all kind of needing to come together and connect and share information and support and encourage one another. And I'm really trying to encourage you to grow as much as you can in these times, so that, you know, you and your family and your neighbours and friends, that if we're all, you know, we're all kind of supporting our family and friends, our circles, and we're all doing that, we can reach everybody. You know, nobody will be, you know, not able to have fresh food. Nobody will be left isolated. Nobody will be, you know, on their own, struggling and not knowing where they're going to get their next meal from, or where, you know, they can get some support from. So that said, let's get on, and I will see you soon. Take care for now.